This bitch didn't spit on it
Alright, so death. Dun dun dun. The unavoidable conversation. Forever sheltered and created with a great amount of distance. So great that when brought up, we naturally eliminate ourselves from the conversation. It's like, for some strange reason, we're all finally realizing that we're humans living in this fragile vehicle of flesh for the first time, stepping out of that first person perspective and seeing the world for what it is. Back. I keep fucking this shit up. Jesus Christ. It's always been there. And it will always be there. It's just we ain't never gave that perspective the time of day to be, because that'll require a great amount of empathy, not just for yourself, but for others, compassion, and funny enough, self-awareness. Isn't that fucking hilarious? Now, there's two ways you can look at it. The first being the physical sense. Now, obviously, we leave the flesh and move on to whatever heaven or afterlife y'all believe in. And then there's the one. Now, I ain't really realized that this was even a thing until last year.
I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus.
Meaning, when someone dies, obviously they're gone. They're no longer here. You just have the memories. But what starts to mess with you is the routine of their existence that's no longer there. And that starts to take over and becomes overbearing and overwhelming to deal with. And it becomes anxiety. The anxiety of that person who you shared moments with in time, and the memories of the possible future you could have and should have had with them, gone. And with that remains the crumbs of the memories, of the imagery, of the imagination, of what could have been, should have been, and what will never be. The anxiety builds even more and morphs into this gasp of air stripped from your lungs, and you're trying to find a form of familiarity while simultaneously searching for some kind of peace. But unfortunately, that'll never come. Realizing in that moment that the only feeling that you'll ever have of them is the grief, which is a comfort, because it's the only thing that'll live with you for years until you meet the inevitable passing. And I think within that passing, you think, that'll be me. The person and the people I know, love, hate, etc. They'll soon share that same level of grief, and the cycle will continue. But within saying all that, if you really think about it, I know it's contradicting, but no one really dies. Here's what I mean.
Everybody loves a hero. People line up for them, cheer them, scream their names, and years later they'll tell how they stood in the rain for hours just to get a glimpse of the one who taught him to hold on a second longer. I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with pride, even though sometimes we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most, even our dreams. Spider-Man did that for Henry, and he wonders where he's gone. He needs him.
Think about known icons. Kobe, Nipsey, Basquiat. They're all dead, obviously, but they did so much in their living that they're forced to live. Their legacy surpassed their death. making it seem as if though they didn't earn the right to die.
Honestly, did not care whether I lived or died. But now, I cannot die. I can't leave until this is straight. And the reason being is because if I can't live free, if I can't live with the same respect as the next man, I don't want to be here. Because God has cursed me to see what life should be like.
Because their lessons and actions still remain in the minds and thoughts of the living, with so much weight of the people that shared such high reverence for them that they could never die. Because to die, to truly die, is to become or have a lack of acknowledgement for one's existence.
Think about this. You going somewhere mentally and you bringing something back that people that aren't where you just went can hear in the place that you both are.
So within their death, they made it their duty to continue to live even after death. Because life after death is remaining to live for the living and for all things connected to life.
No, I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Death is so funny. It can be a tool, but it holds sorrow, pain, and grief. But with time, it turns into something much more. It becomes a piece of you, causing life and death to be one. One can't live without the other, ironically. Death becomes the motivation to live, to explore, to be free of the shackles and restrictions that be fear of the unknown that the grief holds.
Do not fear death. Death is always at our side. When we show fear, it jumps at us faster than light. But if we do not show fear, it casts its eye upon us gently and then guides us into infinity.
It's truly up to the person experiencing grief and how they internalize it. Because without death, funny enough, how are you gonna live? So just live. Yeah. Just live.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin. Man,